Well, welcome everybody. Good to see you and have you on here today. I have obviously with me today is Dr. Undrai, a dear friend of mine who actually was one of the first people that introduced me to the kingdom years ago, and is one of the most prolific speakers that I know that understands and has an articulation to, bring forth the processes that we go through when we step into this kingdom realm. I would highly recommend you guys getting in contact if you'd like to go deeper into things of the kingdom. Dr. Pfizer has a website. He's an author. He's a teacher. He's a mentor. He has done some stuff, people. He doesn't just talk about it. He actually is of what he talks about. So again, thank you, Undrai, again for being here. And I think one of the things that I want to kind of roll with here today is understanding the process. The last teaching we did together that you had here at the beginning of November, we talked about the mind of God, but I'm realizing most people, when they come into the kingdom, I hear this reoccurring thing, and that is this. Why is it that once I was into the kingdom, I feel like I'm all alone? And I know that religion always requires a broad audience to maintain the value of what it is, and yet the kingdom seems to single you out to have a interlude with God where it's just you and him, and you're not allowed, it feels like you're being cut away from everything that you knew to the reality of what he is. So I know we've all been through that. So I think it's great that, you've been seasoned obviously in the things of God for decades. And we like to hear the process and the mind of what God and what you actually went through in that process. What was that like?
Oh, I think, well, I'm not going to say I think. As we live and progress and we become more and more in tune with this reality being a lifestyle,
Hmm.
we begin to interpret it better.
True.
Um, when I first had my experience, I didn't call it the kingdom at the time.
Hmm.
I just knew that there was a greater responsibility calling me, a greater pleasure of spirit in my mind. Curiosity, not to see if the Bible was true, but to see if I was true. You find out the kingdom is in you. It's not about seeing if the verses are right. Because in religiosity, and I wasn't calling it religion then, in our Christian faith, yeah, you believe the scriptures. I didn't believe me. I didn't believe in my legacy or my capacity. I believe in my commonness, get up in the morning, go to work, come home, pay the bills or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't believe in my excellence or my reality. And any divinity was not even a passion of mine. But when, like I said before, when you get cramped in your spaces and it's time to move, you start looking for a greater plane. Everybody can relate to that. One of the things that I did realize is as I was not seeking things, but trying to figure it out, uh, your energy vibration switches when you're trying to figure some things out. You kind of innately get away from certain busy noise environments,
Hmm.
try to figure out what's going on. Let me put it in a more practical matter, because whenever we talk about God, whenever you say the word God, the mind changes. It's like it loses all understanding of reality. When you say God, you start
Yeah.
thinking church or Bible. If I talk company and money and signing contracts, you could feel it. You could say, okay, I got you. But
Mm.
whenever you say Jesus or God, you got to get out of character and get into another character. And,
So
and
true.
so we don't want you to have to switch brains. Let me just put it this way. I have a set of keys right here. If you want to know my life and my pursuit, look at my keys.
Hmm.
In order to get each key is a financial commitment and an application. This is my Toyota Tundra key. They just don't give these away.
Hmm.
First of all, I needed to see that I needed a truck. You just don't go buy a truck. You have to come to a realization that you need a big vehicle, a pickup truck. I need a truck.
Mm-hmm.
How do you know you need a truck? Look at what your life is doing now. And after a while, you get tired of loading couches in your car. Look at what you're doing. Look at what's happening in your lifestyle. Your lifestyle enhancements begin to tell you the type of vehicle you need based on how you practice your life. Now, we're just talking practical. And I came to the point to realize I needed a truck.
Mm-hmm.
So after a while, when I found that I needed a truck, my attention level subjected to the need based on what was happening in my lifestyle. This didn't come out of nowhere. And then I looked for it.
Mm-hmm.
And when I looked for it, there was a salesman, a teacher who told me, now let's prove and see if you're worthy to get this truck.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to apply. I had to give my social security. I had to let them into my life to see what I did. They had to see where I worked and how much money I made. And could you afford this truck? They had to test and check my worthiness to see how I stuck with my word. If I had a word, if my credit points were not right, they needed to know people that I knew, give us references.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the more you unworthy, the more references you need to give. If it's okay, give us 3 people. If it's not, give us 125 people. We need to find at least 200 people to see where you can run. Where you already know something. And so this key came when I was approved. This key represents a financial commitment. This key represents a covenant, what I said. Now, this other key is my house. Same process.
Mm-hmm.
This key is another vehicle, a Rover, a Range Rover. This is another key. The key itself is worth too much money. Not just the Rover, but the key is worth a lot of money. Mm-hmm. So therefore, if you want to know my life, look at my keys. And then I got post office keys and mailbox keys and boat keys. You know what I'm saying? Now, you know the importance of the keys based on if I misplace them. Have you ever misplaced your keys?
One time I did, yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know that feeling that comes when it's like, oh, because your whole life is on that key ring.
True.
And that key ring is carrying money. It's carrying importance. Now, I begin to look at my life in the same preciousness as I did my keys.
Mm-hmm.
Because if those keys are misplaced, you're like, wait a minute, I can't go. With every key, if I could just talk for just a minute.
Absolutely.
With every key, a time is assigned. When it's time to go to work, this key is important. Mm-hmm. It's time to come home. This truck key is very important. You understand? With every key, time is assigned. Well, all of a sudden, I begin to look at my life with the same preciousness as I do my keys. Because if I misplace my keys, I'm lost for time. Mm. When my keys are misplaced, I can feel it in my heart. Like, wait a minute. And if my sons have my keys, tossing them in the air, I'm gonna say, hey man, put my keys down. Don't mess with my keys. Don't play with them. Because you don't have the same financial commitment that's connected to these keys as I do. So you can lose them and don't think about them because there is no emotional attachment to the processes that it took to get each key. You're a beneficiary of the key. That's why you can just throw them in the air and think you have access anyway. But I knew what it took. I knew the questions I had to answer. I knew the money I had to put down. I knew everything that I had to subject myself to just to get these keys. Mm-hmm. So the kingdom, if I could put it this way, is a sudden expansion into another life where you begin to see your life and the divine nature as a key, a preciousness that you don't take for granted until you reach that emotional plane. Not a hypothetical revelation, because a lot of us want to know what the kingdom is hypothetically. The reason we don't understand it is there is no emotional equivalent or psychological connection to the transformation of what's going on. But you can feel your keys. You can feel that. If we're out of, let's say you and I in Arizona. Look at it. Look at that, Amber. All right. Let's say you and I take a drive. Let's say I fly to Portland, and you and I take a drive to Vancouver, and we got to get back for a meeting. And all of a sudden, you misplaced them and say, "Vice, looking for my keys." And the more precious the keys are, the more it'll make you retract and to retract your steps to see where you've been. A kingdom shift is when you finally realize that you're a key that you lost. And whenever you lose something precious, the lost thing begins to stir your mind and you start going back. Let me see where I was. I was at the table. I went to the bathroom. I left the bathroom. Barry was standing at the door. Barry started telling me this. See, the kingdom is a going back to a value preciousness that was lost. But nobody can teach you what you lost. A certain shift has to come and make you remember, I had something. Where? The kingdom is the recovery of your lost identity and lost originality. But you won't look for it if you never feel the preciousness of it. You can't teach it at a meeting. It's a ponderance. Nobody taught me this, Barry. After I began to see what my life was requiring, the more my lifestyle began to readapt to what was going on, it opens your mind. Like, wait a minute. And it stopped me back in 1991. That's when it started with me. I said, wait a minute. What if all? And I started asking questions. What? Nobody taught me. I didn't go to a kingdom meeting and they taught kingdom and I learned the buzzwords. I learned my question. When I learned my question, I looked for my answer. The kingdom is a different key for everybody. The kingdom is not one Jesus key for everybody. The kingdom is a Jesus reality or a Christ reality for everybody, for anybody, according to the question that they arrive to at a certain point in life. Now, religion is crowded for everybody. Come on, sit down 3 o'clock nightly, 7 o'clock. But the kingdom is a question that finds every man at a certain time and makes them ponder, where did I put where are my keys? And most people are pondering that lost thing every day. And they're not telling anybody. But they're pondering it silently. That's why hundreds and thousands of people may come up to your website and watch the videos and don't say anything. Because it's speaking to a lost something within every man. It's a lost something within every man. And you'll only seek it when you feel the preciousness of it. But it's hard to look for something I never lost. Religiosity will give you things to play with because you never lost anything. But a kingdom can only be sought when you feel you lost something.
Mhm.
not when you learn. You can't be curious. Tell me more. You can only seek it when you feel you lost something. Does that make sense?
Totally. Yeah, and I think that brings up some profound insights. And also, of course, you're going to have people going, well, okay, so the scripture says that Jesus said to Peter, upon this revelation, I'm going to give you the keys of the kingdom. Okay,
Yeah,
stop right there. Okay, stop.
I'm glad.
Yeah, stop. Because what I believe I've seen happen so many times, and I think this is a great analogy of what you just presented, because we all believe that we got all the keys in our hands. Yet during the time when the key that is necessary to unlock the answer to where you're supposed to go was never sought after until the crisis hit. And you go into a panic with a promise of the keys, but you still don't know how to administrate that key because you don't know where the door to unlock it is at. And then you end up questioning yourself. You just go, I have the keys. How come nothing happened? Okay, stop right there. Go ahead.
I'm
Go.
very excited. Now, I'm trying to find a key that I don't use on here. I don't have it. I used to have keys
Hmm.
I don't use. And whenever I have an irrelevant key, it means there is no more financial commitment or application or psychological covenant with that key. It
Yeah.
means I aborted it. It meant I failed in the administration of it. And therefore, I was locked out of the situation and still had the key on my key ring. The key means the presence of a current authority.
Mm.
The
Mm.
key, the key, the key is current authority and access,
Mm.
current access.
Yeah.
Now, without the commitment to the power of the key, I just have iron or copper on my key ring.
Yeah. There it is. There it is. That's
Yeah,
really good.
that's all I have. If I keep up my integrity or my payments or my investment or my power, the key is a current access. It's a symbol of go whenever you want.
Hmm.
If I don't keep up my application, my current mind, my wisdom, my excellence, my discipline, all I got is iron or whatever they make keys out of. You know better than me. It's just some material. Our identity is just the waste. Esau proved that point when he was hungry.
Yeah.
When Jacob said, "Give me your birthright," he said, "Oh man, I'm hungry. It ain't nothing for me. It's irrelevant to me now. What's good owning the universe when I'm dying? Give me
Right.
those beans. Let me
Mm.
have the beans. Let me have those red beans with sausage. You got sausage in them beans?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But see, when you carry something that does not fulfill your hunger, it's just weight that you got. So he gave us keys. But if the keys are not fulfillment, see, these keys are important. I can't go anywhere if I lose them.
Hmm.
I always feel in my pocket on the keys and my wallet.
Hmm.
Wherever I am, look, before I didn't have much. But when I got better and got credit cards and more financial management, financial stewardship and provision, I started putting my wallet in my front pocket.
Yeah.
I don't want to put it in my back pocket. Before I could afford to lose it, I could get another driver's. I could get another license. My social security don't get it. My social still, you can steal my identity if you want to. You're gonna be miserable. You just still in debt.
Yeah.
But now that you got provision and power and authority, and I can negotiate financially,
Hmm.
I put it in another pocket.
Hmm. You moved it.
Um, the kingdom is a reality when you see yourself in a pressure situation.
Hmm.
You put yourself in another pocket.
Hmm.
But searching for a kingdom that you never emotionally, never psychologically lost, you're going to be up and down in understanding it because you're going to be choking at the words. You're going to be choking at the terminology
Yeah.
because you're trying to fit it in everyday reality and you can't. because you never sensed you lost it.
Mm-hmm.
It's never become something so precious that it feels missed when you lose. And whenever we lose things that are not precious, we call that taking it for granted.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Whatever you lose that you never emotionally connected with is not a loss at all. It's not a loss at all. So I want to ask your listeners, do you value your mindset the way you value your kids?
Mm-hmm.
Do you go after your own life with the same pursuit as you do your kids? Do you feel your life can wait on the couch and it doesn't matter? That's all I'm asking. Because the kingdom isn't any special information.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus said the kingdom is like a woman who found that lost coin. The kingdom is like a man who found the treasure in the field and gave everything for it. He always attributed the emotional essence of this I life as something lost but found.
Mm-hmm.
And then he said, when you find it, the joy to hold on to it. Now, we don't do salvation like that because we know the kingdom isn't salvation because we take that for granted.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Unbelief, doubt, it's salvation taken for granted. It's religion taken for granted. But it matures into a beautiful possession when you realize the preciousness of it.
Mm-hmm.
And it no longer is a religion, it becomes a treasure.
Mm-hmm.
It's going lost and found.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Totally. I'm back at the fullness of, the keys in your hand, because here he's offering Peter, here, I'm going to give you the keys of the kingdom. Now, I'd have to say it this way, that I'd have to say that Jesus was saying, I see you as myself because I've purchased the value of what these keys mean to me.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
so I'm going to give these to you. And I hope, I'd have to say, this is Dr. Barry's Bible from Jesus' perspective. I hope you understand the value of what I paid to get these, for you to enter into the value of what is standing here before you. Because I think, like you said, a lot of people, they read the scripture, they put those pocket full of the key ring of keys, and they put it in their pocket, and it's dead weight to them. It has no relevancy to them, none, because they've never taken the time to become one as he is one. You have to be in him in order to receive the fullness of those keys.
Yeah.
And if you
Go ahead.
I'm just, the separation you realize, because I've had people come to me, they go, just tell me what the keys are. Just give the keys to me so I can unlock this because I need it now. And see, they're in a desperate, they had the opportunity, but see, you can't collapse that reality in one question. It takes a process to give yourself permission to become the divinity of who he is and the nature of who he is in order to use the keys of his kingdom.
Yeah.
And you wanting a quick answer like that because you think the instantaneous, there's just so many facets to this. What I see, the mind's going, I just need the key. Somebody give me a key and I can unlock this door.
No, most people have go ahead. I'm stopping. I'm sorry.
No, I'm just, out loud processing it with you. I'm just going, this is so profound in the implication of, if you really understand the nature of his mind, he does not see, when he gives you the keys, as somebody separate from himself that's accessing the reality. He sees you as himself. That's why he's giving you the keys.
That's right. See, our lifestyle is like this. Most of us are not in a relationship with identity.
Mm-hmm.
We are in a specific with identity.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you what I mean. Let's say you go to the gym. The trainer wants to teach his or her lifestyle to the client. But the client did not go to the gym to learn the trainer's lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
The client only wants the trainer to give them an exercise.
Mhm.
Because I want to put my bathing suit on for the vacation. I don't want a healthy life. Give me some tricks to lose
So
some
true.
weight. Hey, how you doing? The trainer's purpose is maximized when we allow them to give us their life.
Hmm.
But we don't go for their life.
Hmm.
Just give me those tricks to lose a few pounds.
Hmm.
So we are minimizing the authority of the trainer
Sure.
because we don't want that. Most of us are not in a relationship with the divine to learn the lifestyle of God. We only want the specifics.
Hmm.
Give
Hmm.
me this for that. So we minimize the key because we don't want the lifestyle of the key.
Hmm.
We don't want the payment for the key.
Hmm.
So a lot of us call relationship, we say we're in a relationship with God. It's like, no, you're not. You're in a specific with God.
Hmm.
Because God becomes great when he could give us his whole style of life
Hmm.
and not quick tricks to knock a little fat off and a little sin off and a little poverty off. Because once you feel good putting your bathing suit on that cruise and you get back to spring or wherever you live, you're getting fat again. I just want it to be slim for the sun.
Yeah.
I want to look good for the pictures. Because of the motive from which I seek God determines the endurance that I have after I experience God.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right.
So, are you in a relationship or specific? Every heart knows what they're going after when they go to a person.
Hmm.
Every heart knows. That's why when you read the scripture, Jesus said, follow me, come with me. And they said, I will, but let me go say bye to my father. Let me go bury my daddy. I just bought some land. Let me go say bye. He already knew you're not ready. You don't want this life. You want a specific.
Hmm.
And anybody who's wanting a specific thing can't endure the whole thing.
Hmm.
That makes sense?
Totally makes sense. I know. I remember one of the first offices I rented here when I started ministry. They had on the key itself, "Do not duplicate."
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And
Oh yeah.
so you were not, if you tried to duplicate that key by law, when you give it to a key maker, they can't do that. You've been denied the power to duplicate that key.
That's right.
What that meant is tying it back to what you were saying, in order to access the office that I desired, I had to be committed financially to it in order to have access to that key. And duplication was not required, commitment was.
That's right.
And
That's
so soon as commitment was made, you get the key without no ability to duplicate it because it takes you back to the source that gave you that key.
thank you.
And once I still have a key, I still have keys. I have a key I still have to this day from that office. They said, you can use this. And as long as you adhere to the key on there, you will not break any laws. The minute you try to duplicate that, that's illegal.
That's right.
And so you could sit in your office and sit up a vise and maybe a little grinder and try to match it all out. But you go to put it in the lock, it doesn't work because it's not made by the master.
It's
You're
not.
trying to do something to unlock a door that's outside your jurisdiction in order to get in there. And there's so many people that have done that. They've tried to work the scripture to make a key, to make something unlock when you've never committed to it emotionally,
Thank you.
spiritually, none of that. And you turn right around and you use the scripture. And Jesus said he gave Peter the keys of the kingdom. Do I not have those keys? That depends on if you're committed. It's like salvation is free, but to get the benefits of it, it's going to cost you everything.
Cost you your life.
It's going to cost you life.
So people are trying to copy or come in another way.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what, and it's showing you your motive.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's all mental, and you could teach it, but this is a reality barrier that must be caught by the consciousness.
Yeah.
And the teacher is going to be the spirit of realization.
Hmm.
Before it's me, before it's you, it's going to be the spirit of self-realization that reveals what's up. Because
Hmm.
nobody told me about it but me.
Hmm.
And I was like, wow. And I started to see, now, if God is this, and he made me,
Hmm.
that makes me like that. I'm like God. And when I started to put that together myself, my habits started to realign.
Hmm.
When the worth of myself was seen, my actions responded. And when your worth is self-realized, it's an impartation that remains. Now, if you simply give me attention, I could only go so far with the attention you feed my ego.
Right.
That's why you can speak prophetically to certain people. They'll only go so far.
Hmm.
And they'll become codependent on you. Better, better, better. What's that you said again? You have to keep motivating them. But there is no impartation that's more powerful than self-realization.
Hmm.
When your own soul and your predetermined ancient of days identity lays hands on you, who you are.
Hmm.
When who you were born to be lays hands on who you are now.
Hmm.
And that's what happened to me. And I mean to tell you, I've been going ever since. And it's been realigning my habits and my mind and my thoughts. And it's caused me to go back and remember, where did I have that cake?
Hmm.
And it caused me to remember conversations I had with God. Okay, God told me this. Revelations are merely predetermined conversations with God.
Hmm.
It's establishing a future with what was spoken before the foundation of the world. And I begin to look back, and my heart began to feel what God felt like when he made me. And then I begin to feel something from that.
Hmm.
And it began to shift my reality, because the keys I lost started summoning me.
Hmm.
Whenever you lose something valuable, you get to yourself and you say, wait a minute. And some crazy way you try to see if you can hear whatever it is talking.
Hmm.
You try to hear it. I think I may have told you about this before, but I had to teach in Indianapolis. And I was just got off I was on the plane, and I had this briefcase. And I had, before I left Houston, I took my regular phone, and then I had a little office phone, a little side mobile phone. Somehow I felt, take that phone too. I said, well, all right. And I took the extra phone with me. And I had the phones in my briefcase. The phone was under the seat on the plane. We landed, and I was reaching for the phone, and I said, where's the phone? And couldn't feel the phone. So I thought the main phone had flipped out and fell and went under the seat somewhere.
Mm.
Oh, people was looking for the phone everywhere on the plane. Couldn't find it. I had to get off the phone. I had to get off. I called my wife on the little flip phone, and I said, "Baby, I lost my phone, and I'm sick. I'm sick."
Hmm.
I said, "Call my ride, because they don't know this phone number. Call the person who's supposed to pick me up and tell them what's up." My wife said, "Oh, Undrai, I'm sick as a dog. I'm sick." My ride picks me up. I'm sad. They take me to get dinner. I don't want to eat nothing. Now you know I'm sad, because now I don't want to eat
Yeah,
anything.
that's a sign right there.
It's a sign of depression and mortality. And I just sat and looked at my food. It took me back to the hotel. Nice room. And I'm sitting on the bed and I'm sick. And I look at my bag. And in my brain, I started to wish that phone back to me. I just started to look at the bag. And I got up one more time and reached in my briefcase in this, it's like a leather bag. What I didn't realize is there was a compartment in the bag. You know how these bags have these
Oh
zippers.
yeah. Oh yeah.
And I reached in and there was a cord I pulled out. I said, wait a minute. And I reached back in that secret compartment. That phone had slipped through a sliver. And when I got that phone, boy, the joy in my life had come back.
The appetite came back.
It slipped in a compartment. But this is the thing. When you want something, it'll talk to you.
Yeah.
I sat and I looked at that bag. And it was almost like in my mind, I could hear it say, come look some more.
Mm-hmm.
But before I left Houston, I heard, take your other phone with you.
Mm.
God was going to teach me a lesson. Take your little side phone with you. Sometimes religiosity is the little flip phone that you have.
Mm-hmm.
You really hear where you need to go.
Yeah.
It's good for its reasons.
Yeah.
But you're going to hear what you lost soon enough.
Yeah.
And this is only to hold you until you hear what you lost. When you hear what was lost in that little compartment on the side.
Yeah. It's really
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. And that's a reality. That's not a teaching. That's an experience.
That is an experience. I'm just, it's so true. I'm sitting here thinking, I'm going back to the key analogy, and that is this. It's like you're saying with the phone. I think every key that God makes for the kingdom, what people don't realize is that in the chip inside that key,
Yeah.
inside that chip, it says the key only operates in the hand of God. And until you give yourself permission to be as God's hand, that key is no good to you, because it'll see you, the unseen realm will see you as an imposter trying to work anything. Yeah, it'll see you as an imposter trying to do a divine work in a reality of where you're trying to take and steal something outside of the ability to become the thing that gave it to you. Meaning, if I don't become who he is, this key's not going to work.
It's just an exercise.
It's just an exercise.
If I want to learn the lifestyle of my training will become my teacher.
Yeah, that's right.
If I only want the exercise, I just want access to a benefit.
Yeah.
Void of the mind of the trainer.
So good.
I'm gonna get fat again, or I'm gonna grow and healthy after I get through entertaining what I want.
Right. So good.
I'm getting illegal authorization from a teacher just to function for a short time.
Yeah.
Because that's all I want is a short time. I don't want a life. I just want a short time.
Yeah, I think it's so powerful, because what happens is, I think in this kingdom understanding, when it first hits you, we try to do the kingdom to change the way the church is done. The kingdom doesn't come to change the church. It comes to change how your life is done.
That's it.
And so you have a lot of people that they know the church life, but they don't know the Christ life.
The Christ life.
That's what it is right there. They want to move that kingdom. I don't know how many people have come to me, I'm going to take this back to my church. It's not about taking it back to your church. It's about changing the value of what you've known to the value of who he is. It's to change your life. It's not, it comes to change your life, how life is done, not how church is done.
At our churches, because if it changes how life is done, wherever life is done, it'll change wherever your life is done.
Exactly. That's a t-shirt right there.
Yeah. Whatever, when your life, however life is done, will transform everywhere life is lived or done.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It's in the reoccurring thing that happens though, that people that understand that they're not going to church to connect with another emotional experience with God. They're actually having experiences everywhere they are.
that's right.
And as they expand in that, they're going, wait a minute, is this right? Why is this happening now? Why is this? How come it's happening outside the church? Well, because you've actually decided to change the way life is done. You're not
That's
trying to bring the kingdom to change church life.
that's right. Oh, hold on a minute. I wrote something earlier. See, now you got me started.
Uh-oh. Let's go, man. Let's go. What you got? What you got?
Find it, Lord. I wrote it on the app this morning.
Oh, you did?
Hold on a minute. Yeah, I wrote it this morning 3 hours ago. When divine nature is our natural lifestyle, we find ourselves. Look at that, my phone just flipped off. Hold on a minute. Help me, Lord. Look at that. Now it just stopped. Hold on. I gotta pull it up. I gotta pull it up. Hold on. I was reading it.
Everybody's glued to the screen now, boy. You got them just sitting there, just going, "Come on, pull it out."
It is. When divine nature is our natural lifestyle, we find ourselves being individual arcs of divine presence. God is wherever we are.
There
Now.
you go. There you go. The
We
now
all,
of God.
we all become individual arcs of presence
There you go.
when the divine nature is our natural lifestyle,
Hmm.
exercise, but lifestyle.
Yes, and that's so powerful because it's like Obed-Edom's house when God's ark landed. Nobody went to church to get it. It's where God was at, and everything just began to flourish. And we need to realize that it's not about trying to work another key to another door to how do I get it to these keys are natural to me because I am the life of who he is.
It's a preciousness that I don't take for granted.
Yeah, absolutely.
A precious recovery and discovery of something
Yeah.
that navigates my being.
Hmm.
That's what that is, the core of that nature.
So powerful.
Yeah.
So how can people get connected with you, Dr. Pfizer? I want to have people connected in this reality because people are going to be, jaw dropping over this and they go, how can I get more of this?
You can connect with me on my website at www.pfizerinterglobal.org,
Okay.
or you can download our app, Pfizer Interglobal, in the App Store or Google Play. There
That's
you will find books, podcasts, videos, keys, websites, everything.
everything's there. Awesome. So powerful as the usual conversation when God talks to himself. That's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
I so enjoy the value of who you are, what you have and wisdom to give, because I think these are the practical things that people go through, but they've had no father to teach them. Why do I feel this way? Why the repercussions? So again, I just want to say thank you. And I'm sure there'll be a lot of people going, dang, that was so good. I need to hear that another 40 times. And you should. There's a lot of times it takes that.
I'm gonna tell you, we talk again. We could bring more and more realizations out of this revelation.
Yeah.
There are so many myriads of roads to go with this.
Mm-hmm.
But this is the season. Well, not season. This is the moment that we have to teach a psychological and emotionally connected Christ life, not a hypothetical Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Hypothetical revelations will show you. I see it. I see the equation.
Mm-hmm.
How you feeling the treasure of it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I pray that happens amongst us even more.
Yeah, what it does is it solves a problem because so many of us, myself included, back in the day, keys the kingdom, but nothing ever unlocked for me.
Yeah.
I was carrying the keys in my back pocket. The back pocket for me anyways, where you put your receipts, you had your comb, you got your wallet. It's kind of like the catch-all, right? But when something becomes something you want to protect, you always move it out of that arena to your front pocket, even especially when you're in a place that's unknown or there's a place where it can be stolen, and you move that thing because it's high value to you. Back in the day, back in the day, you didn't care if the Kleenex or the receipt from Safeway, Costco's back there. I mean, everybody's back because you treat it as the same.
Thank you. And see, if you don't treat your own life like your king's, anything could take it away.
Yeah. Yeah.
See,
there it is.
because we haven't retrieved and recovered the preciousness of who we are.
Yeah.
And you can't protect what's not precious.
Yeah. Yeah. You'll end up back there with the Costco receipts, just joyriding through life, trying to figure it out. Trying to get the next deal. Man, this is so rich, so good. Thank you again. And I know if we the problem is we get going, we're just gonna keep going and going. And so that's the problem with people like us. But anyway, again, thank you. It's been very powerful once again. You're very much appreciated and honored. We'll talk to you soon. We'll see you guys all soon.